all the time. All the time, God is great. Nothing is impossible as long as you have the faith. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Let love be the light you carry. Remember, it's not too late. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. God is great. God is great. All the time. All the time. All the time. All the time. God is great. God is great. God is great. A little louder. All the time. A little harder. All the time. God is great. I want you to sing the chorus going on with me now and believe it. Feel it. He will never leave you. Never desert you. God is great. All the time. All the time. God is great. God is great. All the time. All the time. God is great. It is a spirit. Listen. In 2016 was Bacchanal written key. The mayor of Port of Spain, he lost, he worked. He talked about some women and the vulgarity. I must admit that I was shocked. Because to tell the truth, the carnival roots is rebellion, debauchery and protest. To try to sanitize a Jamet parade that wears no disguise. You must raise a hornet's nest. It's the nature of the beast, that is where it come from. It's not a platform for priest or the Windsor. Concubine in a line, see them pride, pump and wine, making bacchanal. Now dies the carnival. For the states, they just wait to congregate and gyrate. It's a two-day feast, designed to level feast. So if you don't understand the spirit, leave it alone. Cause they don't throw ketchup in Brahma's zone. Carnival is the runaway child of slavery. The oppressed of the earth, they get the vent. To mock the planter class with all indecency until their conscience catch up with them in Lent. So it was a no holds barred. Take that in your car. You can't beat me and rape me at will no more. So through nakedness, the body became photojournalist, a picture of flesh and gore. It's the nature of the beast, that is where it come from. It's not a platform for priest or the Windsor. Concubine in a line, see them pride, pump and wine, making bacchanal. Now dies the carnival. For the states, they just wait to congregate and gyrate. It's a two-day feast, designed to level feast. So if you don't understand the spirit, leave it alone. Cause they don't throw ketchup in Brahma's zone.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Independency right here on I-95.5 FM, live on the Independency Facebook page and YouTube channel. Good morning, Natasha.
5 ton. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, guys. Good morning to you tuned in on our live feed, as well as those of you tuned in to I-95.5 FM. Please remember when you're on Facebook or YouTube to like and share the live.
This morning we have the privilege of having two members of the executive of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service sitting with us here this morning. It's a privilege that... Pardon?
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, it's a privilege that we don't take for granted here because the police are really stretched and very busy, and we thank them for taking the time to sit with us here this morning to speak to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It's not the first time, and we appreciate this happening again, and we thank the Commissioner of Police, of course, Christopher, for giving her consent for this to happen. Of course, with the hard work of Ms. Joanna Archie, we were able to pull this together, and we have in studio Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Richard Smith, and Senior Supt, well, who's no stranger to independency as well, Maharaj. And we thank them for good morning, gentlemen, and thank you very much for sitting with us.
Good morning, Gart and Natasha, and thank you for having us this morning. It's really a pleasure to be here and an honor to serve Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in this regard.
You're most welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me. A good morning to all persons tuning in to the program.
Right, and like I said, you the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have been wondering and praying and hoping for a let up, an ease up. And we have the gentlemen here who are responsible in a way for that happening. We have a lot of things happening on Oblique, and we have a lot to unpack this morning. So we're going to jump right into it. And we start with Assistant Commissioner of Police, Richard Smith. Sir, we've been following. We are ardent followers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, all arms of the Protective Service for that matter. And we have a lot of questions from the citizenry with regard to what is considered a serious crime, because we look at the murder rate and we say, well, okay, it's a serious crime. But we keep trying to find out, and could you give us an explanation, and deal with this issue of serious crime?
Okay, thank you for that question, Gart. A serious crime is, we have three categories of crimes. We have serious crimes, which is the more serious offenses, and I'll list them out in a short while. We have the minor crimes, and we have minor offenses. So these are categories of criminal offenses. When we look at the serious crime, we look at the top-notch crimes. So for instance, the highest crime we have there is murder. And then we go down to shooting and wounding, sexual offenses, serious indecency, kidnapping, and then we have kidnapping for ransom. And then we have robberies. Those are also categorized as violent crimes. So we have serious crimes, and then we have a second category of violent crimes. Then we go down to the other type of serious crime, which is breaking offenses, general larceny, larceny dwelling house, larceny motor vehicle, which is quite prevalent now. We have possession of firearms, possession of ammunition, possession of narcotics for trafficking. We have fraud offenses, which are also serious crimes. So when we look at serious crime in a nutshell, people mostly believe serious crime is murders, shooting and wounding, because that is the top of the list now. Right. And it's quite prevalent in society as we speak. But then we have the other crimes that we are also dealing with, which also falls into the same category. While we would not try to trivialize the murders and the shooting and wounding, which is quite serious, which is top-notch crimes, but we also have the other SRCs, or serious reported crimes, that we also investigate as well.
Right, so it's just that the murders are overshadowing basically the other serious crime.
Yes, because it's at the forefront.
Right.
It is reported in the press on a daily basis as it happens, but we also have the other crimes that we have to investigate as well, which is just as important, but we know that murder, while we do not want to trivialize it, I'll reiterate, we must look at the other crimes too, because we have victims as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
And is that one of the criteria that you use to determine what constitutes a serious crime, whether there's a victim involved?
No, we have serious crimes would be determined by the gravity of the offenses, right, the law that caters for it, as well as in some instances the value. So for instance, right, a larceny offense, the general larceny offense, once it's over $2,000, then it becomes a serious crime.
Okay.
If it's under $2,000, it's a minor crime. So for instance, the shoplifting in the supermarkets and all these things would be minor crimes. Mm-hmm. But anything over $2,000 will become a serious crime.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about the
Yes.
Mr. Maharaj.
Yeah,
Right.
while the categorization of crime, or let me rephrase, the categorization of crime is really an internal police issue. This really has no bearing on the victims of crime out in the public space there. Whether a man is robbed of $1 or $1 million, however the police classifies it, it really is unimportant to that person. And so we must make that distinction. All are investigated as incidents taking place in the public space, and the police have a responsibility to address whether it is a minor crime, minor offense, traffic offense, regardless of the category. The police has a responsibility to investigate. Now, the reason why the serious crimes, particularly murders, are being placed on the front burner, rightly so, is because it is the category of offense that occupies the national attention via the media, traditional social media, etc. So there is a certain degree of sensationalism and awareness of these categories of crimes.
Yes.
And so the questions are being asked as to what is the police doing with those categories, rightly so. But rest assured, those crimes as well as the so-called lesser ones are receiving the attention of the police with the same level of intensity. So I just want to put that out in the space there.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for that clarification, because, I mean, we as members of the public consume that media and would obviously, come up with our own theories about how these certain crimes should be dealt with.
Yes.
But in investigating and in trying to solve these crimes and put the criminals or the perpetrators behind bars, how much does the TTPS spend in terms of identifying the causes or trying to prevent these crimes from happening? I know that's very difficult, but how do you go about it? And is that something you could share with the public?
Yeah, well, let me take a shot at that. Now, the organization operates on the premise of preventing crime and criminality in the first instance. The strategy itself is one of prevention. It's the first limb on which policing is built. And so prevention in terms of police jargon means police patrol, presence and visibility, which is why we place so much emphasis on police officers, uniformed police officers being out in the public space, because their mere presence ought to serve as a barrier to potential criminals and criminality. That's the first limb, the preventative limb. So a significant amount of the resources, the human resource and other resources, are pumped into the preventative element. Of course, we have the emboldened criminal who, although he sees the police presence, police who are representative of the state, agents of the state, representing the society, although he sees that police officer present in the public space, he feels emboldened enough to still continue with his crime or criminality. And that's where the second limb of policing kicks in. It is now for the police to arrest, charge, and prosecute. That's the second limb on which the profession is built. Of course, if we do the first limb properly, then there would be less emphasis required for the second limb. But society is changing, evolving. People look at the loopholes, the opportunities, the fractures in the entire criminal justice system, inclusive of bail and all these things, and take the chance, because crime is high risk, but it's also high reward. So they take the opportunity to perpetrate crime and criminality.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to add to that. Now, that's the police aspect as it relates to police alone. Now we have where we engage with the community. So we have community engagements. And one of the engagement that we embark on is that we look at community development as well as community defense mechanism we try to put in place. So one of the ways that we use the community development is to empower the community as to what is taking place. So we do that through town meetings. We do that through our station council meetings, through our walkabouts, where we inform the community as what is taking place. Either we give them flyers, to make themselves harder targets. We give them information through tongue meetings, because whenever we keep tongue meetings, it's more or less we are reporting to the community as to what is taking place, what we are doing about the particular type of crimes that is affecting them in that district. We are sharing information with them on every platform that we have as it relates to crime and what they can do to protect themselves. So that is empowerment. But then we look at community defense mechanism. This is also as it relates to neighborhood watch groups, community defense. Each one look after the other one, neighbors looking out for each other. We no longer can we live in silos, We have to be each other's keeper now. Nowadays, you have people hoping that the neighbor don't look in their direction because they just want to keep their head and go straight. But the fact is, we must be looking out for each other. Gone are the days when we can live like that, We started to put up big walls so nobody could see in your premises, but nobody could also see to alert you, right? We also have the fact that in Tunapuna district, they introduced the Eagle Eye, which is a camera system that was placed in the business community. Now it has reached to the residential areas, and we are spreading out of the North Central Division into other divisions as it relates to that. So it's a system where we have surveillance being placed there by a company, a particular company that we are dealing with. We have the president of the Tunapuna Station Council. He took the lead in it as it relates to the subscription of this Eagle Eye program. And we also have some additional features with these cameras where if there's a robbery or something taking place at your home and you press the panic button, it is being monitored 24/7 by TTPS at the Tunapuna police station, so we can respond effectively, as well as we have a super siren now, as well as strobe lights. So from the time you depress your panic button, the entire neighborhood lights up.
Lights up, okay.
With strobe lights, as well as all the super sirens that have been installed in the district will go off simultaneously.
Right.
So you'll have all the neighbors being alerted that there's something going on by God's home. So the assistance will be coming in. So that is part of our community defense mechanism. Patrol is community defense mechanism because we are present in the community. So we have the neighbors looking out for each other. We have the technology stepping in as it relates to the Eagle Eye. We also have patrols by TTPS. We have patrols by other stakeholders, for instance, the security companies. In North Central Division as well, we developed a patrol with SWAT Security Company. That's a joint patrol with the TTPS and SWAT Security Company, as well as we also have our joint patrols, the Joint Task Force Patrol, which was implemented by the Minister of National Security together with the TTPS, and we have that Joint Army Patrol taking place and beefed up in 10 divisions at this stage. So, all these are community defense mechanisms which we are looking at increasing our presence, visibility, and, as Mr. Maharaj rightly said, we have the emboldened criminals who will take the chance still, but at least at that point, at that stage, we would have a quicker response by the officers who are already on the streets.
Can I add to this, gentleman? There's something that, and I think we should, because Natasha and I always discuss it, and I think it's something the police could look at. Now, in the military, it's called giving away a position. And especially at night, we can stay from where we are and see the police coming before they reach by us.
Yes.
Because they use their lights
Yes.
at night. And I'm saying, I don't know if it's deliberate or because if I'm about to commit a crime and I see the lights, those lights bright, you see them
Yes.
a mile away, then I would lie low until the police pass. And if that patrol is once every hour, then I have a full hour now to commit a crime.
Yes.
Is it possible you could have that changed, please?
Well, that's like a double-edged sword.
Yes.
Because I did say that one of the strategy is prevention.
Right.
We prefer to prevent a crime than to investigate one. Because when a crime is committed, persons are violated, we have victims. But if we prevent a crime, well then certainly we have some kind of dent into the fear of crime that the community will perceive. I want to go back to add and bring a little perspective by way of an explanation with the question you posed earlier in terms of the root causes and whatnot. And my own examination of how Trinidad and Tobago has evolved shows that we have lost our innocence as a society. Mm-hmm. No longer can we sit back and pretend that we don't create monsters or criminals as parents. Because we have the society evolving and developing. Whereas crime and criminality were confined to specific areas a generation ago, it is now widespread. And by my own examination, of course, I don't have the empirical data to support it, but by observation, when we look at housing developments that are going up all over the country, we find that persons who operated in the traditional high crime area migrate to those areas, and they take with them their cultures and their values. Now, public may be offended by what I'm about to say, but the road to remission is admission. The East-West corridor has been known to be an indisciplined place. And so a lot of persons migrate from those areas into non-traditional housing developments. And if we examine the behavior associated with those places one generation later, we see it is akin to the level of indiscipline that the East-West corridor has been known to produce. We have to face that. Compare that with a traditional community where you had the collective responsibility of the communities. They grew up with common values. And it was the neighbor looking after his other neighbors and the whole community. And the expression, it takes a community to raise a child. It's not just an expression. It's a philosophy, it's an ideology. That has changed. So now we live in a residential community and we don't even know who our neighbor is. So we lock our doors and we remain confined in the privacy of our own space, oblivious of the fact that if a crime is committed next door, today it is the neighbor, tomorrow it could be me. Whereas we should collectively be responsible for providing that kind of security and safety, and also networking with your police officers within the communities to bring information. Strange persons coming in, who are they? We want an investigation to be done. We want to know who are the occupiers of the space. So we have to face the reality. We can't pretend that we live in the 1950s and 60s. We're no longer there.
So, amen to that. And amen to that. How we grew up, right now is a kind of culture shock for me where we live. I must say that. Even though there's a WhatsApp chat group, I don't know half the people in the group. And it is sad to know that even some people move in, and for the last 3 years, I never said good morning once. And they come out of their yard and we just about 15 meters away from them. Never said good morning once to us. And I'm saying, and this is a mother and daughter, adults. And I'm saying, now I stand when I look and I say, suppose something happened and I am home at the time where I could defend them. You think I should do that? Mm-hmm. Because you're not friendly, you're not mannerly, you don't even say morning. Yes. How do you expect? And another thing is that police don't have to get involved with everything in the community.
Exactly.
It could stay right there. What about making peace with each other? Like I said to the neighbor who always most of the time, police and the police and the police. I said, let me ask you something. If you and I fall out and I come across by you with a cutlass, how the police stopping that? Police cannot stop that. It's after I do what I decide to do, then somebody will call the police.
Yes.
We really need to change the way we do business now, so you're right.
And I agree, and to add some further perspective to it, and we must understand the role of the police in our society. Yes, I am saying that our primary objective is to prevent crime, to have a safe space, a safe society. But that cannot be done without the direct intervention and input of the community. The community must become involved. And again, let's face it, the parenting style that we practice in the currently is a far cry from what was practiced yesteryear. And so, if we do any kind of analysis between those young criminals or misguided persons, let me not stigmatize them, those misguided persons, and we look at the quality of parenting that they receive, and we compare that group with the successful group, and we do that kind of comparison, we will understand that the quality of parenting that they receive is directly responsible for the behavior that we see being displayed today. The parenting style has become questionable, so it now brings into the formula an intervention from our social department to provide that kind of assistance to young parents, national parenting, whatever is required to help parents to properly parent their children. More than that, this is my personal belief that I'm sharing here now. This is not the position of the TTPS. I believe that there should be repercussions on a legislative level for parents who fail to properly parent their kids, their children, and their transgressions by the children. You cannot ask the police to come and be a parent to your child. We didn't father your children. Our role in society is to preserve the peace, detect crime, and other infractions of the law. Yes, as mature, grown, responsible adults, we adopt the role of a father figure or a mentor to your children. But parenting of your children is your responsibility as parents, not the police's responsibility. And so to that end, in our own space, we have put forward as part of our operational plan, our strategic plan, community engagement, youth clubs, different programs, because we know there are at-risk persons. We try to intervene at a very early stage in their life to sway them in the direction that they ought to go. But that is not really our remit to be parents to your children. That's your responsibility as parents. And so, when your child is fighting in school, the police shouldn't be the first to intervene there. You, the parent, should be the one to be held accountable for what is happening with your child. You socialize the child. The police didn't do it. The police will come to pick up the pieces, and if there is court involved, then so be it.
CP Smith?
Yes, just to get back to one of the questions you asked, right? And just to ask you a question as well. You know, I spoke about community defense mechanism. I spoke about station council, town meetings. But then when you live in a community, just like what you were saying there, the community itself can have their own meetings and meet with each other so that they will be aware. They will be aware of what is actually taking place in the district. They can share information. So apart from waiting on the police to do anything or to call this neighborhood watch group or even call a station council meeting or even attend a town meeting, the community itself can have their own meetings so that they'll be aware of each other and they'll be able to defend each other when issues occur. The other question you ask is in relation to the swivel lights that we use. The swivel lights that we use, as Mr. Maharaj said, is double-edged. And some people see it as a way, a form of comfort, knowing that the police is around. Other persons use it as a way to detect where the police are so that they can perpetrate crime after the police leave.
Yeah.
So, damn if we do and damn if we don't, we have to, but we utilize it because in some areas we need it, right? And we need to give persons that level of comfort that the police, in fact, is around and giving them that level of protection.
No, Senior Supt Maharaj made his interjection there, and with you combining the two, it is up to us, basically, gentlemen, you're saying, for us to police ourselves first before the police gets involved.
Well, certainly. I mean, if you understand how a police organization and institution, its place in any society, the police have been legitimized by the population at large, you know. We operate on their behalf, you know. Our role is codified by law in the parliament, authorized by the state. We have certain authority, and it is a symbiotic relationship between the population through their representatives in the parliament and so on to confer upon the police the power to operate on behalf of the citizenry. That's we act on behalf of the population. So we must operate together with the population. And so it is for the citizens to come and partner with the police. You tell us to operate on your behalf, you know, whether the Trinidad and Tobago understands it or not. You authorize us to act on your behalf. So when we stop a suspicious vehicle on the roadway, you told us indirectly that we give you the authority to do that, you know. that will go a long way in trying to alleviate any kind of fear that we may have of would-be criminals, potential criminals traversing in that vehicle. So don't feel offended when we do our job. A certain sector may be inconvenienced, but those persons tend to be myopic and don't understand the big picture. It is about protecting Trinidad and Tobago. There will be minor inconveniences to some people, but it's necessary. And you, the population, legitimized us, you authorized us, and we act on your behalf.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Our Independency, and we have in studio with us the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Richard Smith, and Senior Supt Maharaj. Two very plain talkers, as you would realize, and we have lots to unpack with them. So, Natasha, can we go to a break? Or you have a question to ask before we go?
No. I didn't want to go too deep and delve too deep into this one question because we have a lot to get through this morning. So, yes, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will touch on the other pressing issues that the population has about policing in Trinidad and Tobago and crime.
Yes, and we still have home invasion and extortion to deal with, and we continue to hear, and we like gentlemen to speak to Trinidad and Tobago and the people who answer these ads on Facebook Marketplace, because for the last 2 weeks, for the last year, we have been hearing people going to buy cars and getting robbed. They're going to buy phones and getting robbed. And could you help this population by telling them, when we return, how should we treat with this? Because it's happening too often. Up to yesterday, we hear a soldier being relieved of $50,000 because he went to buy a car.
Yes.
You listen to Our Independency. Remember, you can join us on Facebook and YouTube to see what we have to show these gentlemen here this morning. And then, of course, the issue of the police uniforms as well, we're going to discuss when we return right here on Our Independency. Stay right there. We'll be back.
Slavery, a terrible time in our history. The kidnapping, buying and selling of people for profit, the exploitation of another human being. It still exists today. It has a new name: human trafficking. Anyone can be a victim. There is forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem and an emerging concern for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. If you know of or suspect human trafficking activity, call the counter-trafficking hotline at 800-4CTU or 800-4288. Human trafficking is a crime. Identify it, report it, stop it. A message from the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Hello?
Hi, this is Patricia Kent from HMP London. Can I speak to Miss Sheila, please?
This is Miss Sheila.
Hi, I've got an important call for you. Please hold the line.
Mommy, it's Sherry.
Oh, God, Sherry, we looking for you all the time. 3 weeks now. Where you going?
Mommy, according to tell you, I get locked up. I had drugs in my luggage and I'm in England right now. In jail.
Oh, God, Sherry, what? What you do? How you reach there? Oh, God, how we going to go?
Oh, God, Mommy, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. It'll be all right. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I 95.5 FM. Don't miss it.
Do you want to support our work at Eye on Dependency? Here are 3 ways to do so. You can make a donation to the Eye on Dependency account at Republic Bank. You can follow the Eye on Dependency page on Facebook. You can subscribe to the Eye on Dependency channel on YouTube. Liking, commenting, and sharing the live on a Sunday also helps. Thanks in advance for your support.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency. Don't forget, if you're listening on Facebook or watching on Facebook or YouTube, please drop a like on the live. That really does help us to reach more people. So like. It does not cost a thing. Free 99. Just like the live if you're in the chat.
Right. Natasha, before we ask ACP Smith to touch on the Facebook marketplace thing, we had another question, burning question you wanted him to answer.
Yes. That has to do with murder. Now, as the senior Supt said, murders and violent crimes are top of mind because they're, front and center. In terms of gang-related murder, what is how prevalent is it compared to other forms of murder, and is the legislation that was recently introduced assisting the police in terms of tackling the gang issue?
Yes. As we look at the probable cause of the murders, so we categorize it as probable cause. In some instances, we may not know exactly what caused the murder. So we have, based on the facts that we have, we come up with probable cause for the murders. So we have, for instance, gang, we have revenge, we have drugs, but in my personal view, I categorize all as gangs because gangs deal with drugs and sometimes we have the revenge killing and all these things. Then you have the domestic violence. We have the intimate and non-intimate domestic issues, and then we have the other types of murders, right? As it relates to gangs, that is the major cause of murders in our country, right? The Homicide Bureau, as well as the different gang units in the division. So we have gang units established in all divisions throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And they are governed by regional gang ASP, who sees about these gangs. We also have them under DCP Intelligence and Investigation, Ms. Suzette Martin. So she's the top of the list there as it relates to overseeing gang investigations. With the legislation, as it relates to gang investigation, it is quite a tedious investigation, right? But everything that we do, every arrest that we make as it relates to a gang member, right, whether it's robbery, whether it's shooting, wounds, or anything, it goes into our database. So when we are ready for them, as it relates to our gang investigation, it makes it easier because we have something compiled against them to prosecute them for gang-related offenses, being a gang leader, gang member, all these things. However, in doing that, we are also charging them for murders if we can find the evidence and all these things as it relates to the murders, the kidnapping, the wounding, shootings, all that compiles into a proper investigation for the actual gang offense. So it is in fact working for us while it is lengthy, but we have the other offenses that we are charging for, as we go along. Right. But at the end of the day, when we have enough evidence, when we have amassed all the evidence that we need for the gang investigation, which I wouldn't reveal here because it would put them on their guard, right. But we will in fact go ahead and prosecute them for being gang leaders, gang members, or any other offenses that we identify under the gang legislation.
And the penalties for crimes under that act, are they more strenuous than for the other crimes that these persons are being charged with, or no?
They are at times, yes. And I know it even includes police officers who facilitate these gang members or anybody else who facilitates these gang members. So it doesn't exempt anybody, whether you're an attorney and you are involved in facilitating these gang members, it accommodates that as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Senior Supt, you have anything to add to that?
No, just to reinforce that the investigations are ongoing. Gathering evidence for this category of offense is in fact a tedious thing. It is sensitive. And while the population may want instantaneous results, we must take into account that we must operate within the legislative framework. We are not in the business of circumventing any process to achieve any desirable outcome, because that in itself will be tested in the courts. And we know we have a system whereby process, if it is breached, will be struck down. Exactly. So we have to cross our T's, dot our I's, so that when we in fact charge, we have an airtight case.
Yes. No, there's ACP, there's another gang operating on Facebook Marketplace. I would like you to speak to that, please, because it's a gang we don't see, they're not visible, but they're taking a lot, they have a lot of souls under their belts.
Yes. The invisible gangs, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, until they become visible for us.
Yes.
Yeah, what happened, this Facebook Marketplace, I saw it emerging in 2021. We started getting a lot of that in Port of Spain division. I was there as a superintendent in CID. And we observed that persons were making reports that they made a purchase or they contacted somebody on Facebook Marketplace to purchase a TV, air conditioning units, anything, phone, anything you could think about. Or the persons would contact different companies on Facebook who are advertising and ask and purchase stuff or make the offer to purchase stuff, and when they deliver them, they will rob them. We made some investigations and we were able to arrest about 15 persons in that regard, all from the Port of Spain district. We set up some sting operations, we arrested persons. During that period, we also did some public awareness campaign. It went through Beyond the Tape. We went through other mediums so that we could advise the public. Every opportunity we get to advise the public of this, we do that. Yet still, on a daily basis, we have people who believe they will never be a victim. We even offered, if you believe that you want to make this transaction with this person, ask them to meet you in front of a police station. Walk into the police station, because every single officer knows. Some officers even got caught in it too. Every single officer know that we have this type of offense taking place, and they would never refuse you from doing a transaction there. About 2 months ago, I was on the bus route, just returning from Port of Spain. And a guy stopped us. We were in a marked vehicle. And he said that he was in Herculean Medical Science Center. He went to do a transaction with a guy there as it relates to a vehicle. The guy took a $7,500 down payment, told him he forgot the receipt book in the vehicle, and he went through a door, and he never saw him again. So his $7,500 jump up. I said, okay, I asked him, what is the guy's name? I don't know. What is the vehicle number he was going on paid on? I don't know.
No.
He didn't see anything. But he just trusted this guy and gave away $7,500. Right? I'm hearing about other persons who should know better being victims of this.
Yes.
But we always warn them. Whenever you tell them, okay, let's meet in front of the police station, let's go by the police station, walk in and tell the police officers that they're going to do a transaction. We will never refuse you. And if they refuse, you know what's going to get caught. Somebody saw their vehicle parts being sold on marketplace. We were able to go and recover the vehicle parts and arrest somebody, right, as it relates to that. So the thing is, we are appealing to members of the public. Don't be fooled by this. There was another scam in Curab district where persons were saying that they work in courts and they could get cheap stuff to buy. So people believing that would tell them, go back to court. They would meet them in front of courts. They'll be wearing a court's jersey. They pay the money and tell them come around the back to collect it. When you drive around the back, you meeting anybody? They go on with their money. Wow. But you always believe that you will get a deal. People always believe they're getting a deal. And, sometimes you might be tempted to say it's good for them. But we can't say that as TTPS and law enforcement, because people are gullible. People, they are smart men and women outside there who would take your money. This online work-to-own vehicle scam is a serious thing. We arrested and charged 5 persons recently. For that, we identified 61 crimes of that nature. But in order to continue with our investigations, we need the members of the public who are victims to come forward. In Trinidad and Tobago, we identified 61 offenses of that nature, and we were only able to charge for about 23. These 5 persons were charged for 23 counts of larceny by trick. Or larceny by trick, that's the offense we charge them for. So the fact is, there's a lot, but persons are not coming forward when we ask them to. They are making the reports, but when it's time to go the step further to do ID parades.
The embarrassment and the shame, I guess, of their own, naivety, I guess.
So I'm hoping that this program, Gat and Natasha, you all could remind them on a weekly basis of this, because it's happening and it's just increasing our reports when people could do, act differently. Just be a little more responsible.
ACP, what should people look out for? If you are in search of, an item on Facebook and you're looking, what do you think the indicators, the red flags that people should look out for if you're interested in purchasing a product online?
It's difficult to determine the red flags at that stage,
Correct.
Because it's only when you go to collect or go to deliver, then that is when you realize, hey, I get catch now.
But there should be some basic information that you should have before you engage with this individual. Is it, in fact, a person? Have you spoken to this person? Not just messaging online, but have you spoken to this person? Do they have a history of selling items? Who are they? Where they live in? What business they're in? If it's just an individual or if they are connected to a company. I mean, certain things, that basic information you should know about somebody you're buying. Because
it's questions you can ask.
Yeah.
But then the questions could be staged as well.
Correct.
Yes.
So the answers could be staged as well. So the only thing is, when you reach there, And one of the red flags could be if you say, well, let's meet in front of the police station, they back out.
Right.
Right? That would be a red flag. I tell you, hey, I'm not going to change any location because this person back out from a police station. Where is the most legitimate place? I believe we could come transact some business. Let me back out of this now because he doesn't want to meet in front of a police station. So it should be a red flag. That's just the test. Some of them might be bold enough to come in front of the police station, but if you fail to inform the police that you are doing a transaction there, you could get robbed on the side of the station,
Of course.
And the police wouldn't know that,
True.
Right?
True.
So, we need to be sensible about this.
Yeah.
I know online purchases is quite popular now.
Yes.
But the
Because
robberies...
of the convenience.
Exactly, but the robberies are, in fact, becoming more and more.
Absolutely. And you don't want to part with your hard-earned cash. I
Yeah,
mean,
especially-
yes, you're willing to part with it, but not like that. You want to, exchange for one item.
No,
a product
I mean,
or service.
especially $50,000. When I read that yesterday,
That's
you
hard,
you go on the back, and then some people will tell them, meet me on the corner of George and Nelson Street.
No.
And they call certain,
Yes.
right away, you're supposed to, a red flag supposed to go up,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because once somebody get that money, they disappear in that plan. That is it, your money gone.
And we're not saying to stigmatize anybody.
No,
No,
but
no,
be
certainly
smart.
not,
Be
but-
smart.
Be smart. Come on.
But like you said, and to reiterate, let this public know who listening, please.
Yes.
Somebody wants to do a transaction with you, go to your nearest
And
police
for God's
station.
sake, don't invite them to your house either.
Of course, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you go to your nearest, tell them, meet you by the station.
Meet-
And
yes.
you save the person back out.
You know, something is wrong. That's a red flag.
Right. And although don't feel too bad because it happened to me some years ago. I remember going, ashamed to say this, but that before I even started using cocaine, right? So, but that time crack cocaine now covered. So I go on the port to take a boat to go to Bago to see my daughter, right? And miss the boat. So I come back now to by the where they used to carry the cars there on that street, Abattoir Road.
Yeah.
And I better run up to my stuff, breathless. Breads, I have a VHS here. That time it was VHS.
Yeah, the
cassette. And when I feel it, I say, you sure, boy? He said, yes. He said, but police are wrong. Just give me the money. I say, how much you want? And them, the million of VHS, I'm glad to get a VHS. Brand new box and everything, tape and everything on it. He said, give me $200 now. I said, give this man $200. When I go home and open, it's our best crete back in the box.
You look for that,
A best screen breaker.
You screw it back down.
A brand new best screen breaker. I said, but how much? And all that time in army, So it could happen. It could happen.
I mean, it could happen. In that case, I understand because time was of the essence, immediacy and everything.
Yes.
But when you have the luxury of time of planning a purchase online, my first red flag would be the price.
Yes.
How could be this item, which traditionally is an expensive thing, how come the price is so low? That's my first red flag.
Because if it
And
seems too good to be true, it
Certainly,
probably is.
be
right?
aware and suspicious at all times. Again, I reinforce the point. Trinidad and Tobago has lost its innocence. We have to accept that. Don't be gullible and naive.
But
We're no longer there.
You see, the price may not always be an indicator because $50,000 to come out with to go and pay for a car. That is not a low price. That is something serious. $7,500 as a down payment for a work tone is not a erroneous price. It works. So everything is to encourage you, It's so attractive, it's to encourage you. The price mightn't be low, but the fact is that you're getting to get this car to use and then pay for it while you're using it.
Yeah.
They will work it out so nicely for you. As soon as they get the $7,500, as this guy did, he went through the back door. And that was the last.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So
And
we
I-
might laugh at the victim, or which we are not laughing. We're laughing at the circumstances. I want them to be clear of that.
Yeah.
Right? We're laughing at the circumstances now because it may sound erroneous, but some people could get caught with it. You get a brick, right? And you know what? And the thing about it is, if it was actually a video, long time we call it video, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he had stolen that, you were going to get a case too for receiving.
Yeah.
So you took a serious chance there, being a member of the defense force. You took a serious chance with your job too,
I never tell nobody that, no? I couldn't tell Basha them that, but I really laugh. Yeah, but I got caught, and the man.
Not when you want to peep in the
The box was
They were
well
well
sealed,
sealed,
and
taped up.
then the thing is, police boy, there's no
Yeah,
police
yeah.
always passing it.
And you
So
have a boat to catch.
you understand?
How much you pay for it?
$200. And I did this man and going home feeling real nice, I had a headache for a week, yes. That didn't feel good at all. So it could imagine somebody losing 50 grand. You can't, you're not supposed to recover from that.
I'll
just
tell you
so.
something like this happened. This guy made an arrangement to buy some marijuana. And he said, Boldface, he came and reported this. He went to buy some marijuana from somebody. And when he went up there, he paid them the money and they give him same circumstances. Before police come, they take this and go. So they take the money and they go on and they give him they wrap the package. The marijuana is wrapped in a tape kind of process, right?
Yeah.
When he go on and he cut open the tape, it's bored. Right?
Oh, Lord.
But he bold-faced to come in the station to make a report. And he get robbed, right?
Yeah.
Somebody outsmart, he say robbed, right? It's larceny by trick.
Yes.
But the fact is, you come in to report. We had to take it, you know.
The police are laughing on the station.
We had to take the report.
We laugh. But we had to take a report because the man, every report that comes into us, we must take the report.
Right.
Even though he was involved in criminal activity. But he believes that he has a legitimate report, a complaint to make, and he came in to make his report. We had to take it. Well, where are we going with that?
He well brave though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he
But
well
he
brave.
pay how much thousands for board?
Lord. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Our Independency, and we have in studio with us Assistant Commissioner of Police Richard Smith and Senior Superintendent Maharaj, and they are here to speak with you this morning. We have a lot of areas to cover. Natasha?
Yes, and just one final point on that whole cybercrime related, I want to call it cybercrimes, is that the way society is structured now and the amount of time that we spend online is part of what is being called social conditioning. So people are conditioned to share information about themselves online.
Yes.
To share their location.
Yes.
And to basically be more, have less discretion about the information you share online and things that you do online, transactions that you make online. So I think that has made us a little more susceptible to these kinds of crimes.
And it leads into something else that we're going to talk about just now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it leads into that.
Yeah.
So let us before we go to that, let me just jump a bit ahead. And there have been many firearm and drug seizures in recent months. Now, have these seizures made a dent in the quantity of firearms and quality of drugs available to users?
I'll answer this, and I know Mr. Maharaj will add to it.
Yes.
It has. What if we didn't do this? What if we hadn't made these seizures? What if we hadn't taken these drugs and guns off the streets? Every bullet that we take off the streets is a potential murder that we prevented. Every kilo of marijuana or cocaine that we take off the street is a potential killer of persons. You know what we're speaking about as relates to drugs and usage of drug and all these things. And then we have the new synthetic drugs coming on the market now. And when you combine that with punching, simple punching, with these ecstasy and this molly and all these things, that's how we see in this violence, you know. When these guys go outside there and they pop the pill and they take some punching with that, it's fearless, you know.
Yeah.
Right? So we have a monster outside there who on high on these stuff, right? So the seizures that we're making are in fact making a dent. It is taken away from what they would have had, right? The firearms that they would have been able to utilize to commit crimes, we are taking away that from the street. I know it's a question that people always ask, what the police doing? They're doing nothing. But if we weren't arresting persons, for the year thus far, we arrest over 6,000 persons, you know. Imagine over 6,000 persons from the country arrested so far for various offenses for the year so far, right? And you telling me, and the police are doing nothing, right? So if we wasn't doing that, if we wasn't arresting persons, what would have happened in this place? Some of them might be repeat offenders, but the fact is, 6,000 arrests, right? So you telling me, if we wasn't doing nothing, if we wasn't taking off these guns off the street, if we weren't taking off these narcotics from the street, what would have happened in Trinidad and Tobago? Right?
Yeah, of the numbers that have been arrested, and I want to be frank and open with the public, in the majority of instances, those arrests have been made without any significant assistance or contribution from the general population. This is the police doing its work, its investigation.
Right.
This is the police looking for the needle in the haystack by stopping and searching 300 vehicles, hoping that we find one firearm. That's the police doing its work. So can you imagine the kind of successes we can realize if the public fulfill its responsibility to share information with the police? More than that, those persons who are allowing, I'm going into a touchy area here now, but I did say that the road to remission is admission. Those complicit persons who operate within these spaces, who have been given the responsibility to manage our borders, those persons who are allowing firearms and narcotics and contraband to come into the country, just know that you are contributing to the destruction of the very fabric of our society.
Yes.
You are contributing. The police on the back end will pick up the pieces and search for the individual firearms. But you have a responsibility. And so complicity is a way of life in Trinidad and Tobago, sadly, at all levels.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're no longer innocent, and we must understand that. This is the third time I said that on this program. That's the reality of our society. That's the reality of it. Notwithstanding that, we remain committed to fulfilling our mandate. We'll do what is required with the limited intelligence that the public provides to us. We will deploy our resources in the public spaces to try and gather as much information as we could to make the significant bust, to use a loose term, and do what is required to ensure the safety of Trinidad and Tobago. My cry is for the public to understand that you are most affected and do your part as responsible citizens. That's my cry to Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, Mr. Maharaj, I want to challenge you a little bit on that in terms of the citizen is responsible for your own safety and security and the safety and security of those around you, i.e. your family, your community, your country at large. So by sharing information with the police, you are assisting in that security blanket, right? Why is it then, apart from, the community values, your parental supervision and guidance, why is it that persons do not trust the police to give information to, because they are fearful for the repercussions that may fall back on them? I think that is one of the reasons why people don't trust giving information to the police. But also it may be, for some people, the kind of distrust comes from the interactions that they may have had in the past with police, myself included, because I had a matter involving one of my cats, and I went to my local police station about it, and I did not get the results that I was expecting. So I think those are the two major, and those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube could correct me if I'm wrong. Those are the issue about public mistrust of the police is a significant reason why information is not shared.
And you are not incorrect in making that statement there. And I am saying that the police as an institution and the officers through the rank and file are extract of the very society that we police.
Yes.
And so the complicity also exists within the ranks of the police service. The difference is that there is a dedicated unit within the organization to address these anomalies where transgressions are discovered. And the record will speak for itself. The number of police officers, and it is publicized, we are transparent with respect to the prosecution of complicit officers. I do not know if other institutions could make that boast. We don't sweep things under the carpet. You are correct. Now, we also recognize that we have not been at our best when dealing with members of the public. Commissioner of Police, the executive, embarked on a strategy whereby we will go back to first principles, to coin a phrase used by one of my good friends. We go back to first principles, first interaction, basic courtesies, to the extent that we have developed and formalized and implemented a customer service policy that really speaks to manners and treating people with respect, something that ought to be taught in the home, in the schools. It's unfortunate that we as an institution are required now to reinvent the wheel, to bring back those first principles, to ensure that we restore some level of trust and confidence of the public in the police. Sadly, it is what it is. We recognize our shortcomings, and that's some of the steps that we have taken to alleviate the concerns, to kind of restore our legitimacy in the national landscape.
Short one, that the interaction, maybe we could go to that,
Yes.
the one in Tobago, so that they could put the icing on this cake here one time and get this out of the way, because ACP and
Video F. short
Senior
one.
Supt, a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, once said that he was beaten by 3 men, car taken for months, and he attempted to find out what was happening and was met with the answer. Nothing, but it's still under investigation. Then the officers were transferred, and the new answer is the officer is no longer here. How a citizen could get around that from happening? Because it happens.
Yeah, well, that really is a cop-out. Because the job, the investigation, nothing revolves around any single officer. There is continuity.
Right.
And when you identify there is a weakness in supervision at the level of a station, as the case may be, it's a cop-out.
Okay.
Now, with a rigid supervision structure, we will ensure that there is continuity in investigations or in any element of the job.
Yes.
The job doesn't revolve around one police officer, to the extent that when police officers demit office, whether by retirement or whatever it is, there is a system where we appoint someone to continue the investigation.
So let's say if I'm investigating a case, and let's say I have promotion coming up or I have to go on a course, then I need to hand over that to someone else? That's how it works?
In some instances, if you are going on a short course,
Right.
then that investigation is still yours, right? If you're going on a lengthy course, yes. However, if information comes as it relates to that investigation, that crime that was under investigation, in your absence, then this proper supervision, as Mr. Maharaj alluded to, would dictate that another person takes up that mantle and continue with the investigation. Even if we have matters before the court, for instance, I'm a complainant and I demit office, somebody else will be assigned as a substitute complainant who is serving to handle all the exhibits, because if I'm out of office, I cannot handle exhibits like firearms and narcotics and all these things.
Right.
So we will assign a substitute complainant to ensure that the matter continues. So in the absence of the investigator in a live investigation, another officer will be assigned or should be assigned through prudent supervision to ensure that that is continued. Additionally, I just want to say that you ask about the public trust and confidence in the police. We understand that the public, do not have that level of trust and confidence because of their interaction, their personal experience, or experience that from somebody else that was imposed on them, right?
Yeah.
That's the reason we have 555. We have the Crime Stoppers that you can send information to. So we have different mediums by which you can share information without revealing who you are. Even if you go through Crime Stoppers or you go through 555, they will give you a number. And if the information is credible, then you will receive some reward, right? So it's an incentive for you to give information. So we have all these mechanisms in place, but yet still we have members of the public saying, I do not trust the police, so I'm not sharing information. Some people do it because it's a cop-out as well. I do not want to get involved. But when it's their turn, when they become a victim, they want the
They
moon
want
and the
somebody
stars to
else
turn
to-
over so that somebody
Yeah.
could give. Neighbor, why don't give the information, your camera? Give us your camera information. Give us this, give us that. Because they want you now to put yourselves in the same position that they were in before. They don't want to give that information. All right? So I believe in some instances, it's a cop-out. It's an excuse. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to give a statement. I didn't see anything, although I saw everything. Right? So we need persons to balance it. Yes, you may not want to come forward and give a statement, but by all means share the information, send us in the direction of the perpetrator. So at least we could do whatever our investigation skills, give us so that we could arrest these persons and take them before the court. We might have other evidence. For instance, a person robs another person. You tell me that it's Frank's son through anonymous tip. The victim may not have known it was Frank's son, but if we put him on ID parade, then we have him identifying that perpetrator. So we have somebody to place before the court for the offense that you had information about. And it goes like that on various instances.
Gentlemen, it's quite obvious. Yes, sir?
Yeah, I just want to return to the example you brought there, the experience with the Tobago and continuity and whatnot, and to expand a bit in terms of a formal structure. Again, I point to the customer service policy,
Yes.
which has given police officers strict timelines within which to respond to reports, timely updates. It is expressed in the document. It is a living document. Once operationalized properly, it ought to alleviate the concerns. So we have studied and understood where the weaknesses are in the system, and we have put a system in place. It is for us, the police, collectively as an institution, to operationalize and bring it to fruition. So all these things have been considered.
Gentlemen, it's quite obvious you all did not come here this morning to pull wool over the public eyes, and you've been very straightforward, even with your colleagues and your charges. And we really appreciate that, because this is what the public wants to hear.
Yes.
That all you see, I've always said something that recruit training don't change DNA.
Yes.
You could give a recruit 1,000 push-ups a day. You cannot change his or her DNA.
Yes.
So you will always run into that person, as we will, which gives us the opportunity now to shortman, go to the video and ask the seniors in studio here. If you're just joining us, you're looking at Independency. We have Assistant Commissioner of Police Smith and Senior Supt Maharaj in studio with us. And this was an interaction with a citizen in Tobago, and we would like to ask the seniors in here, how should this officer have dealt with it? It's gone already, it's happened already, but we need to find out how should the citizens feel when they see a police officer approaching your vehicle and what to expect. Shortman, go ahead.
Video F.
You just come, just give me permit and insurance. Who are you? Well, this is what I'm saying. Up to now, you don't know is who. You just come, just give me permit and insurance. Who are you? Well, this is what I'm saying. Up to now, you don't know is who.
Yeah, but how we supposed to know you're an officer? You did not indicate that at first.
You not
point.
identify yourself. You not say
You're
nothing to
supposed
me. Just demand my permit and my
identify
insurance.
yourself,
That
which
is
you
what.
did not do.
My partners, as a matter of fact, I don't know who are talking to still, because you just can't let me switch off my vehicle. I don't see nothing yet. You just can't let me switch off my vehicle, partners. Me not make no life no hard for you. All I just want to treat people like people is daughter or something. Yeah, but so because me I respond by telling you good night. That is something. Look at that. That's what I want. Look it.
Wait, let me do the right thing. Let me do the right thing. On the inside line, right? I'm probably just want to touch the tree, but in the first road, right? On the inside line, switch on the vehicle. Right? Don't make life hard for yourself.
Me not make no life. Partners have...
For your safety and my safety. Me I want to shout it. Don't try to talk loud.
And I think it dwells now, it bodes well now for us to discuss this part of the police uniforms and all of that. Because remember, anybody now could approach a vehicle in uniform, because we have people imitating officers. Now, this citizen was saying the officer did not approach properly and did not identify themselves. How should we prevent this from happening in the future? Because I see we have some officers listening to us here, on YouTube especially.
Okay, as it relates to the police uniform, well, I'll respond to the video first.
Mm-hmm.
From what I could discern there, it's the person approached the driver of the vehicle and was asking for documents.
Yes.
Right.
I do not know, based on the technical difficulties that we experienced, I didn't see whether he was dressed in uniform or not. So I'm assuming that he was dressed in plain clothes.
And yes, no, because he had on uniform.
I think he was
but
in uniform, yeah.
yes,
Right,
but
he had
that
on
still didn't have. Remember now,
And what was the uniform he was wearing?
that's what the tactical uniform.
Tactical uniform.
Yes,
Yeah.
And how recent was this?
this was 3 days ago.
3 days ago. So as of Wednesday, no officer should be wearing the tactical uniform.
Right.
That's the instructions from the commissioner that she issued since last week, Friday. All officers should stop wearing the tactical uniform, that blue tactical uniform, as of Wednesday. That was the final day. Officers have begun carrying in their uniforms back to the stores as mandated by the Commissioner of Police.
Put up the picture for us, please, short man. Which one it is?
Sorry, F.
F. Put up F for us, short man. Because
he's saying that there's something with the format of the
Okay.
but it's an MP4 and I'm seeing it on my computer.
But you all go to YouTube now. Forget Facebook. Go to YouTube because Facebook always giving us these issues on a Sunday. I don't know why, but we have a lot of you on YouTube. So thank you very much for joining us.
But looking at the video on my screen, guys, he's wearing tactical and you can see corporal on his chest. But again, he has not, in this whole interaction with this taxi driver, he has not identified himself.
Right, and that is the issue because I'm not seeing whether he has on his ID badge as well. And that is one of the issues because we have that officers must be wearing their ID badges once they're out on duty, right? The officers, we also warn persons to that if you happen to see one of these officers in tactical uniform, they must be accompanied by an officer in grey and blue. That's the instructions from the commissioner.
Okay.
But then it went further to say that no one should be wearing that blue tactical as of Wednesday. The persons in the tactical unit, Mr. Maharaj is in charge of the interagency task force. All of his officers are currently wearing the digital tactical uniform. Right? That's where you will be seeing a kind of camouflage digital style.
Right.
That is what the personnel at the interagency task force, the guard and the emergency branch, the MOPS, as well as the NOTF would be wearing. So no one else is supposed to be wearing that. The taxi driver is within his rights, if it happened after Wednesday, to ask for identification, even if he sees him in that uniform.
And
And
but
that's
he
the reason,
still complied, though. He still
Yes.
provided the information.
that's the
but-
reason when we had the media briefing as it relates to the uniform, I warn persons that if you want the uniform to wear it at your own peril. And even officers who who choose to wear it now will be wearing it at their own peril for the same reason. Because persons wouldn't understand that he is in fact an officer, but he is breaching the commissioner instructions. So it may have some disciplinary issues with him.
There.
Yeah, if it is out of the period.
Now, I'm sure I go to image G, please. Thank you very much. To show some people how police officers dressed long ago. And somebody was making the assertion that somebody indicated that, officers should really go back to the dress because...
I hope it's not short pants.
Because bandits not going... Where short man go on?
Short man, image G, please.
Short pants stop at my batch, In 1988.
No, I wear short pants.
What year you wear short pants?
1991.
Look at this
there
here.
you go.
No, we trained in short pants, but we never came out in it. Yes.
Look at these
Come
here.
on,
Yes.
look how sharp that looking.
Yeah, look nice. Yeah.
Everybody fit and trim and all of that.
But
Why?
when you have some big ugly kneecaps, you look
Make
nice.
sure you put cream on your
but,
kneecaps before you come out. I
but
mean,
notwithstanding the uniform that we're wearing, we ought to pay more attention to substance than form. And I'm going back to the previous experience there. And this is my advice to members of the public, and it's also my advice to police officers. You were taught in the academy, I am certain, how you should meet, treat, and greet members of the public.
That is taught.
That is
Yes,
taught,
that is taught.
and
Are
it
you
must be
serious?
practiced. Good morning, sir. This is the police officer.
yes.
Okay, that's not an obligatory greeting. It's not rooted in law. In other words, the police don't owe anybody a good morning, but good manners hunting will tell you from home that you greet with a good morning. I am Officer XYZ. This is my police ID. I am conducting a routine police road check. May I see your driving documents, insurance, and whatnot? That should generally be the approach.
Right.
The citizen that is driving, if he is not given that, he is by all means required to ask officer or sir, if the officer didn't provide his ID, sir, who are you, please? May I see your identification card? because police officers are required to carry with them on their person their police identification card.
No, you can actually ask a police officer in Trinidad.
Of course you can.
Yes.
And but citizens will
More
tell
than
you-
that, there is a name tag that every police officer is issued with. Mr. Smith is on there.
Right, yes.
And it is for the public. It is not an ornament to be worn to look nice. It is for the public to identify you as Richard Smith, police officer, regimental number 12345.
Well, I'm just going to talk about the regimental number. The grey shirts had the regimental number on it.
Certainly.
Yes.
So
Certainly.
are they going to be going back to that now?
And so we are saying there is an issue as it relates to identification of police officers, legitimate police officers, when they are wearing the operational wear, the blue jacket with the black pants. Yes, we agree, because persons, criminals, they're wearing it as well, and the public uncertain about who is police and who is not. So we have removed that from the environment. The police as an institution recognize that it's a problem. We have heeded the call of the public. We share the concern and we agree. What we have done by way of instructions from the Commissioner of Police, remove that uniform. No police officer is to be wearing that uniform. Instead, you go back to the blue and grey, patrol order number 3. Blue and grey, together with your nameplate, your regimental number, as the case may be. It is for the public to identify you as a legitimate police officer representing the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, an agent of the state, and you're authorized to conduct your inquiries in that regard.
But it was said that, police would not be as agile and active in the grey and blue.
I will respond to that. And I just want to clarify one thing that Mr. Maharaj said. We're not going back to grey and blue. It was never removed. It was never removed.
There you go.
Grey and blue has always been there. That's our police uniform. The tactical uniform came in as an addition to what we already have. So the blue and grey is for officers who work the charge room, who are not in the task force and the other tactical units. Right. So that is for them to use. The tactical units were supposed to be wearing that. Every Tom, Dick and Harry now decided they want it because it gives them that feeling of cool one, yes, cool, or more power.
You could pull a slap too in it.
Is a bad police for that.
Yeah.
But the fact is, if you are not a good police in grey and blue, you feel that tactical can make it better. It wouldn't be better. What about the detectives who work in plain clothes? What happened to them? Are they not police officers as well? And they go out there on a daily basis in plain clothes and they perform creditably. So you do not need the uniform, not supposed to define you, Your character is supposed to define who you are as a police officer. So if you put me in plain clothes, I work plain clothes for 24 years and I perform 200%, million% if you want to say it so. Because I never needed a uniform to define me. A few years ago, Mr. Philbert, who was the commissioner at the time, he said all detectives have to go back in uniform. We had to comply. So we went back in uniform, we climb over a gate, I run down criminal, my hat fall off, my forage cap fall off, but I make sure I catch my criminal and then I come back for my cap.
Yes.
The fact is, the uniform shouldn't define who you are.
Thank you.
So it is supposed to be, the instructions are, we continue wearing the grey and blue and not go back to it. We continue wearing the grey and blue until we sort ourselves out, because we recognize, as Mr. Maharaj said, that there's an issue. Everybody wants to be in the uniform. Check the security companies now. They register with a particular uniform, but then sometime after you see them wearing tactical, check it out for yourself. You will see a lot of security companies wearing tactical. Now we're going to crack down on that too, because they didn't register with that. That is not your uniform that you register with the commissioner with. You understand? So we need to crack down on that as well, because it is easily available by anybody. Any Tom, Dick and Harry could go and buy it in certain places. That's the reason the criminals have it. So now, as we said before, wear the uniform at your own peril.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Our Independency, and we have in studio with us Assistant Commissioner of Police Smith and Senior Superintendent Maharaj. We're going to go for a break. You want to?
Just one point on the uniform. Is it a case where officers like those in the military are issued a uniform?
Yes.
That you have to account for?
Yes. All officers are in fact issued. Now some members of who were in the task force would have their uniform even when they move back to a charge room setting or a station, so they would have it. And they tend to wear it because they like they look, as they say, it's cool and all these things, they make you look tactical all the time. But the fact is, all officers are issued with uniform. We have a kit book, so even us at this rank, if I go for a button, anything I go for, it is recorded there. So my kit book is there since I joined the service, and it moves with me. Right?
Okay.
And every time we go to the stores, the quartermaster stores, everything that we take is recorded. So when you have to return it now, you have to return the appropriate amount of uniform. So if I go up in rank, I have to carry back my superintendent hat. Right? I have to carry back certain uniform. Right? Even the numbers now, we still have the numbers. So saying that we're going back to the numbers, the regimental number has always been there. It is supposed to be in your uniform. We have the number plates like what I have on here with more information, my full name and my regimental number. In the past, we used to have just the regimental number in silver.
And that is your number till you leave the
Till I
service,
leave
and
the
that's
service. Yes.
after that.
Yes.
You know.
So anybody
Right.
speaking with me would know at a glance, hey, that is so-and-so,
Yes.
and his regimental number is so-and-so.
Right.
No matter what rank I reach to.
And do you all do kit check as well?
Yes, we have kit inspection on a regular basis and more. So even detectives and persons who work in plainclothes sections have to account for their kit, because even when we have like special events, elections, carnival, we would call persons from these different sections who traditionally are plainclothes sections, and we put them out to work for carnival in uniform. Elections, they have to go to different points. On election day, so must have your kit in readiness in case of these eventualities.
And the kit inspection question that you asked there speaks to management and supervision of personnel. Yes, we have scheduled kit inspections, but within recent times I have been practicing impromptu or unscheduled checks.
Okay.
Yes.
So that persons at random I will call, bring all your items of kit for inspection, please. And you have to account whether you have or you do have, because I know when you passed out you were issued with kit. If it can't fit you, I still want to see it.
And if it can't fit, you should have taken it back.
Taking it back to the
when they get the
quartermaster
correct
stores.
size for you.
So, again, it speaks to management, supervision, internal systems, quality control and whatnot. And yes, we will be tightening up on those areas because we see the repercussions, we see the implications.
Are recruits required to write their number, rank, and name on their kit?
Not necessarily.
Because I know that was an exercise we did in the military. Every piece of kit that you have, you must write your number, rank, and name, your rank
Just to
and name on
prevent
it.
theft.
Yes,
or
it's just to prevent theft among persons who might be sticky-handed. So it is advisable that you write a number, rank. Even your hat, every piece of item, you should write it. Just like in your home store. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
In your homes, and this is just general now, you have items in your home, appliances. You have different things in your home. Put an identification mark on it. Write down your serial numbers of your electronics, all these things, so that whenever you have a report of larceny or housebreaking and larceny from your home, it is easy for you to tell the police, I place a triangle with nail polish under all my appliances. I recorded the serial number of my cell phone, of the stereo, of whatever I have, my coffee maker, and I have it here in our book. So whenever we go and recover, execute warrants on places, and we recover items, stolen items, we can see, okay, God had a break-in by his home, and we have serial numbers. Let's call him and see. So God has his whole list of serial numbers, and he's in a position now to positively identify these items that we recovered. A lot of people don't do that. Right? They're not aware of it.
Never thought of that.
No, more than that, the mere fact that question would arise just reinforces the point that I made earlier. When we in a law enforcement environment are required to place marks to separate or identify this item belongs to me or was issued to me, and I have to place a marking on it for fear of it being stolen, it speaks volumes to how the integrity, the basic principle on which the profession is built, it speaks volumes to how that has been eroded for us to reach at that point. It is sad. Police officers, again I reinforce, are also extracts of society. We have lost our innocence.
And recruit training don't change DNA.
Exactly.
We're
We
going
have
to take a break.
a question before we go to the break. A question. Sorry. No, I think this one is important. If an officer wants me to produce my documents, but he does not show me his badge or has nothing that I can identify him as a police officer, can I refuse to produce that document, and how will that be treated legally?
Good question.
Well, I will take that firstly, right?
Okay.
And then I could add into it. if he doesn't show you any form of identification and you're unsure that he's a police officer, you don't have any obligation to provide anything to him.
Okay.
Right? Because who would you be giving that to? You don't know who it is. Right? And as we well know, we have fake police officers outside there.
Yes.
We have persons who genuinely wanted to be police officers who tend to behave like police officers outside there. We had instances in the past, I know Mr. Maharaj might remember this, where we had persons who would steal uniforms and go out and conduct traffic duties. Right? Yeah.
What?
Yeah. We had an instance like that.
Ray Johnson is the person's name back in 1993 at the Sour police station.
I think I remember.
Worked for 7 consecutive days. They say it's the best traffic a police ever pull in the place. I heard that.
Oh my God.
Together with pocket diary.
And he had a book in a bookstore, right?
No, I'm saying it in a jocular manner, but it's factual.
Yes.
Unfortunately, years ago, sometime after that incident, after he was discovered, separate and apart, I worked at a place and I had to commit him to the prison. He having committed an offense and was convicted. And I remembered him, Ray Johnson.
Yes.
And his story was that he always wanted to be a police officer.
Exactly.
But for some reason, he just couldn't get it, you know.
But he showed
the
it.
qualification.
But he showed him still
Yeah,
it.
but I want to go back to this issue here of the question that you posed.
Yes.
Immediately, I can see 3 levels on which a police officer can identify himself. Let us look at a police officer in civilian wear. To start with, he ought not to be stopping any vehicles in civilian wear.
Okay.
That's for uniformed police officers.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Now, let us, for argument's sake, say an officer in civilian wear approaches you, the driver of the vehicle, and requests your information. Okay, he has not met the first threshold to be a police officer. He's in civilian wear. So he doesn't have uniform. So you can't say whether he's a police officer or not. The second level is that badge. But on that badge, there is no no photograph to correlate the badge with the person holding it. But then there is the third level, which is the police identification card, which contains your photograph, the signature of the commissioner of police, your regimental number, and other information. On the reverse side, there is some additional information, inclusive of your blood type as a police officer and whatnot. So, the point I'm making, immediately I can see 3 levels on the continuum for a police officer to identify himself, to discern himself from an ordinary member of the public, giving him the authorization and legitimacy to request or stop or question a citizen.
And just to add to that quickly, the badge itself, it's a shield, which has your regimental number on it. You'll be able to see it. As well as behind the badge is a receptacle to hold your ID card.
Oh,
so it's right there. So on the flip side of the shield that you see on our chest, the badge, there's a receptacle to hold an ID card holder, where your ID card would be in the back of that.
Right.
So when this officer approaches you, once he shows you the badge, his ID is supposed to be at the back of it. Because all police officers should be in possession of their ID badge and ID card
at
all times.
Okay.
Where they are for on duty.
Okay.
It's a standard practice. It's a standard practice that is taught and must be done by police officers. Identify yourself.
Now we have instances where we have a massive roadblock taking place. We'll have officers there in plain clothes because we have detectives there who would assist in searching the vehicles.
Right.
So when they are out there, they would be wearing a bulletproof vest. They're supposed to have their ID cards and their ID badge, as well as their cards wearing as well. So you would see these officers assisting. So we don't want to lock it off when we have roadblocks. You know, you're making confusion. Wait, you cannot come here and check me. They would be part of the operation, but there would be officers in uniform on that operation as well. So once you see them, they would be wearing the ID badges, a bulletproof vest, and they would be assisting in the exercise, the roadblock exercises.
Folks, we have 2 more important things to cover.
Yep.
Home invasion and extortion. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we deal with the extortion part first, and then we finish off with that. And then, of course, the youth clubs are celebrating 50th anniversary this year. So we're going to touch on that and see how the police plan to use the police youth clubs to assist. Please send in your questions so that in case we didn't kind of have to take your calls, at least we could ask a couple of your questions that you will post to us. Remember, join us on the YouTube channel. I see. Thank you all for joining us here. We're most welcome. And send in your questions, and we'll try to see how many of them we can get in. So let's go to that quick break, and we'll be back right here.
Ah, boy. Feel I'm gonna buy myself a senorita tonight.
Nah. You know you might be promoting slavery.
Slavery? What you talking about?
Hey, modern day slavery or human trafficking is just what some of these people just do. You know some of these women were tricked to come here? Some are held against their will, abused, and even beaten. Most times the girls don't even see any of the money that is paid for them. And every night, they just have to come out looking nice and sexy for somebody like you. Human trafficking is a serious problem and a serious crime. Persons who solicit commercial sex services may be contributing to human trafficking. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Hello?
Hi, this is Patricia Kent from HMP London. Can I speak to Miss Sheila, please?
This is Miss Sheila.
Hi, I've got an important call for you. Please hold the line.
Mommy, it's Sherry. Oh God, Sherry, we looking for you all the time. 3 weeks now. Where you going? Mommy, according to Talia, I get locked up. I had drugs in my luggage and I'm in England right now. In jail. Oh God, Sherry, what? What you do? How you reach there? Oh God, how we gonna go? Oh God, Mommy, don't cry. It'll be alright. Sorry.
Eye on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I 95.5 FM. Don't miss it.
Hi, my name is Tanir Kane, trauma survivor and trauma-informed care expert from the state of Maryland, United States. And you're listening to Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography on I 95.5 FM, Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay. Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency, and we are speaking with ACP Smith and Senior Supt Maharaj about all of the issues concerning the police service, crime et al. And we've had they have both shared some very pertinent information about what you, the members of the public, should know about policing and crime in general, how to keep yourselves and your family and the community safe. Now, we want to touch on the issue of extortion, but let me just remind you, if you're listening on watching on Facebook or YouTube, please like the live. Costs nothing. I only seeing 4 likes on Facebook and 20 on YouTube. We could do much better than that. Please press the like button. It costs you nothing. It's free 99. Like the live. Thank you very much. I'm expecting a call shortly, but we wanted to. Hello.
Yeah, you listening?
Yes, who's this?
All right. You don't worry who this is. I just called in to let you know. $5,000 I expect from you and your husband.
What?
Every week.
What?
All right? Not. Listen to me now. What you're bothering? What? You last thing? Listen to what I say. $5,000 every week now. I know where your child going to school. I know where your nanny just come from. And I know they have the money. We have people my brothers and them, they ain't getting much work these days, and we have to fix up. I have to fix them up, and I know all the business doing well. So, you listening to me?
I'm listening, but I'm not hearing because I'm not understanding why you're doing this to me and how you know these things about us.
That is not your business. And as a matter of fact, your husband just resumed. So we know all we're about. As a matter of fact, this song is real stupid. Let me talk to your husband.
Hello?
Put your husband on the phone.
Hello?
Yes, boss.
Who is this?
So, do you know who this is? You just listen to me. We have business to take care of, and I know they had the money. So, starting from this weekend coming here, just put $5,000 in a bag, and one of them boys go come and pick it up.
Yeah, but I don't know who you is, and you just want my money, just so? I don't have that kind of money to give you.
You stop lying now, boy. You want me to come and see Abellas or?
But you don't know my pocket. Who is you, boy?
I know your pocket. You don't think for 1 minute I know your pocket or you can afford it because you driving a Benz. You want me to call the number for you, and your wife driving a Range Rover. Or you already have the money. Or they have the money. And like I say, I know where all your children going to school. I know what time all they sleep and get up. So, yeah, and don't push me because it will go to 6,000. So, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but me, if we could make that money, because you don't know my pocket, you don't know what commitment I have, right?
Yeah, but listen to me. I'm telling you for the last time. If it is, when them boy come by you don't have that 5,000, somebody going to pay the price, and that little poodle all you have around the yard, I'm sure. Or they go like to come and see it hanging from the balcony.
Oh God, Richard, no!
What you mean?
No!
Bitch, shut up now. What are you talking about, Richard? No.
Just cut off the phone now, cut off the phone.
If you only cut off this phone, or listen.
So that was high on dependency drama for you this morning. That is a recreation of what could happen to you and your family. An example of how some persons are extorted by criminals.
Oh God, Richard, no. How are they dealing with that? How
you can't bring the dog when as soon as you mention the dog, that was it for me.
All right.
So tell us about this.
Yeah. So we have extortion of this nature happening on a regular basis. Right, we have the ones where they just go into stores. You have the person actually going into the stores or to the stalls or wherever the business place is and demanding money. Sometimes it may not be the actual, as I would say, the boss, the leader, but he will be sending other persons to make these demands. Now the thing about it is we have no fixed instructions we could tell people what to do because some people will still do whatever they want to.
Yeah.
Right. We understand that you will be in fear, so whenever they make the call to you, please make the report to the police station. I have given my hotline number. It's 797-3150. That's the hotline number for the extortion unit. 797-3150. You can call us, and we will make arrangements to meet with you. The fact is that when you call that number, we have officers who will guide you to the location where we are based. The reason we are not disclosing the location to everybody is that persons sometimes follow the victim to the police station and they may know that they went to the police station. We don't want to put you in any danger. So the fact is, we ask you to call the hotline number, or even if you decide to go to the police station and make the report, the police station will then inform the extortion unit, and we will get involved in the investigation.
You just cut me off, Jed. So how I go in and tell them brothers and them no, the man hang up on me, So how I explain that to them now?
Right. What normally they may call back, and this is not to encourage people, but they may call back to reiterate their demands.
Right.
Right. So when they call back, just let us know. We will do our investigation.
It's a scary thing, you know.
It's a scary thing, and at any time they can hurry doing it now. And you know what is what causing that? If you lose your poodle, we spoke about a poodle. If you lose your poodle, you're going to put up a reward outside. Anybody with information, call Dick, and you will get information. Yeah. Right? Give the information and you will get a reward. Yes. It's out there. You lose your vehicle. You put up information of yourself, your phone number, and you want to get back your vehicle. So you're accepting help from anybody. But the volunteers are out there waiting that.
Absolutely.
Then social media is the next means. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to be outside there. You said it before. Everybody wants their business to be outside there. You go to a restaurant to eat food, you take out a picture first of the food when you get it. When you reach in front of the restaurant, you start off. You take out a picture in front of the restaurant.
Yes.
You get a glass of drink, You want everybody to see the cocktail you're drinking.
Yes.
You buy a Range Rover, you stand up in front of it and you do this and you take out your thing, right?
God
and
is
the
the
license
boss.
plate showing.
Yeah.
With
So
that
everybody's
caption, God is the
seeing-
boss.
So when they're telling you, they know your daughter going to school here because you put she up there.
Yes, plus their
You're
school
feeling proud, you
pictures,
put her up.
everything.
Right.
They pass SCA and they go on somewhere
Yes.
else. You put them up because you're proud.
Yes.
You're driving your Range. You whine on the glass because you want everybody see it too. I have no issue with that. But the fact is, you giving these volunteers the information that they need to come after you.
Yep.
When you advertise a business on Facebook or wherever, marketplace or wherever, because it's legitimate advertisement you're doing, your information is there. When you advertise with your sign in front of your store, your information is there as well. I can't tell people take it down.
Right.
I just given the ways in which these extortionists getting the information of you. So it's no big maths for them to get it. So when you're feeling there's all this big cloak and dagger business for them to get it, in most instances, you put it out there for them to get it. So they're just utilizing it. The volunteers using it, right? Now you would be surprised some of the locations where these calls coming from. And if you could use your imagination, you would understand that.
Yes.
The locations where they're not supposed to have phone, but they're having phone. And they're calling people and making demands.
Okay.
For instance, I have information that some men want to drive them out to come and do a home invasion by you. But if you give me $8,000 in phone card, I will stop it.
Right.
So we feel that coming from, right? Volunteers, they get your number somehow, right? And if you have your business, they get it somehow and they decide to make a call to make a money. If you get scared enough and you give them the money, it's your choice. Yeah. Some people, that's why we urging persons to come forward, make the reports. I've met with persons, business persons, giving them the information and encouraging them to come forward because as we speaking here, we talking about the trust, police trust and confidence. Persons are afraid. Persons in uniform, dressed resembling police operational wear, going and making demands by business places. So they're confused now who we could really trust, and rightly so. So that's the reason I shared. I went to a meeting last week in a particular district. I shared my personal number as well as I shared the hotline number with them just to give them that level of comfort to call. So, it's just a waiting game for them to make the reports, but we really need them to make the reports. While it might be hiking up, yes, our SRFCs, but the fact is we are transparent. We want them to make the reports so we could do our investigation and catch these persons and charge them. For the year so far, all we're hearing about is extortion. The true term is demanding money by menace. Okay. It's under the last in the Act, Section 32, right? So it's when you call persons making threats to get them to pay you money, right? So the thing is, we're hearing about how much extortion it have all over the country. What we have on our database that is reported is 25. We added 3 recently because we got persons to come in and to make the reports to us. So we have 28 reported. Thus far, we have solved 10 of them. So we have around 36% detection rate as it relates to that. But we need some more cooperation from members of the public. And, if they come forward, we'll be in a better position to deal with these persons. In Princess Town Police Station District, there's a police station council there. Yesterday, I had a conversation with Mr. Oral Suktan, and who is the president. And they're taking a serious view on extortion. So they created a poster. And they're circulating it to the business community in Princess Town. We will not tolerate extortion. And they form a group. So they know anybody come there to ask them money, they're lucky if they come out of Princess Town. You understand? Go and try to extort money in Princess Town and see what will happen. And it's something I was so proud to see that they're standing up for something. Right? So them together with Inspector Mohammed from Princess Town Police Station, they come up with that. And I must say it on national, this forum here, that it's admirable as to what they are doing. I saw the poster. I'm really pleased with it. Right. And I gave them the hotline number as well as the other numbers. They could call to the station one time once anybody comes to them. And then they have their personal way of dealing with it, communicating, so that they would be able to lock down these persons as soon as they come to.
Absolutely. And I have a personal experience of that. Our cat went missing for a few days, and I did up a nice poster, put my number on it. I even offered a reward. Lo and behold, I got a phone call from somebody telling me, I see a cat, somewhere up in Digomat. I said, but how? How? But so that was an attempt at trying to lure me to this location for this cat. But when the person on the other line could not describe the cat for me, but that's a simple way to, and people post these things on Facebook a lot too.
Yes.
So that is another entryway to.
ACP, you wanted to add to that?
Next thing you tell you saw the cat by Suarez. But no, but more than that, Mr. Smith alluded to the action of the police and whatnot, and I just want to highlight that the institution has recognized that this problem has become prevalent, and to that end, the Commissioner of Police has established the extortion unit headed by the officer, and all the systems are in place. He mentioned in his submission just now there the station council in Princestown, and I want to explain that a bit. Again, it's a strategy that has been developed. All stations, police station commanders are required to establish station councils. Station councils are really representatives of the different entities within a station district. The business community with a representative, the taxi drivers association, etc. And they have regular meetings where issues will be brought forward, potential solutions, securing the community, whatever it is. That is the kind of networking that I'm talking about. And then there is on a divisional level, we have the town council meetings, where the senior superintendent and even the assistant commissioner with responsibility for the region will be present to hear issues. It may not necessarily be issues of a criminal or criminal in nature. It may be some social intervention, some utility required to be fixed, addressed, as the case may be. That's a forum, because the police sits on the meetings with the corporations in the various areas. And it is in those meetings where the other utilities and agencies sit that issues will be brought out so that some resolution with some level of expediency can be done to alleviate the concerns of the community. So we have gone in that direction to not just deal with criminality, but social issues as well, environmental issues. And we, the police, see ourselves as the gateway to these services. Because let's face it, this Trinidad and Tobago, if you have a pothole in front of your house and you call the people responsible for that, more than likely you will get a response over 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
Correct.
But if you call through the police, then we're in a position to effect some kind of, fast track.
Yes.
Particularly in that environment that we sit, to ensure that you could be addressed. Because the problem for us, if the hole just get big and your car just keep going down in there and your shocks damage and whatnot, there is a likelihood that you may want to protest.
Yes.
And when you protest, you call in the police. The police now has to provide resources to manage that protest. And it may be escalated to the point where we have to arrest. We don't want that.
No, Antonio,
we want to fix the problems.
Antonio on Bento, the assistant commissioner answered that, and he's asking, what about the contractors who are being extorted for 10, 20, 30,000 a month? What should their approach be?
Yes.
Well, you heard the ACP response to that.
Yes. And I know I want to add it because we were getting that in the HTC contracts, right? And we had some strategies that we put in place there, and it has diminished quite significantly. Okay. So we just want the reports to be made, because if we don't know, we can't investigate. And I just want to add to what Mr. Maharaj said there as well, as it relates to these station council meetings. We hear a lot of people saying they don't know anything about this. We have been speaking about station councils on every medium that we have. Every forum we get, we speak about it. Our town meetings, we advertise it on different forums as well. So, it's out there, the information is out there, but people just don't want to attend because they believe it's another talk shop. It's not, because we have persons who have made significant contributions and they have seen results coming from the intervention from the police. People go as far back as even speaking about potholes. Potholes could even be the cause of traffic pileup. Yes. Right? Correct. It could cause robberies when you slow down for this massive pothole in the road. Somebody could stop you and hold you up with a gun. Right? So it goes even further. So if we get these issues resolved, we're looking at lighting. Lighting is one of the basic things that we look at. Right? People complain about lighting in certain areas, street lights. We even, ensure that TNTech does something about it. We bring the information to them because we even have our internal stakeholders meeting with these stakeholders in the various divisions so that we will share information derived from the town meetings or even the station council meeting derelict vehicles parked on the side of the roadway, the use of the savannas, the use of the pavilions for negative things, right? So all these information come to us. We also put ourselves out there so that when we meet with the persons one-on-one in the tongue meetings, in the station council meetings, we can meet with them in a different forum, one-on-one, to get additional information. Nobody will stand up in a tongue meeting and speak about the drug man down the road for fear.
Correct.
Right? But they would, when we put ourselves out there, we are able to make some connection with persons and they would come to us on a one-on-one and deal with it. We are the only organization who put ourselves out there for criticism, because we take it for advice, for anything that people believe that they wish to give us, any issues that they want us to address. We put ourselves out there on our town meetings, on our station council meetings, on our walkabouts. We put ourselves out there, and we will continue to do that because we believe in community engagement. We believe in that. It's the first pillar, number one pillar on the operational plan, because the commissioner saw how important this community engagement is. That is our number one pillar.
Yes.
We will never, and I think we and I'm hoping that the commissioner would grant this, Ms. Archie, maybe I could discuss it. We need to have engagement with the police, not these one-off programs.
Yes.
On a
We need
consistent
on a
basis.
continuous basis, so that after here you could come and update again.
Yes.
And because we reached that time, that 1 minute warning here now. Somebody asked, I think it's a very good question. Do you have any written do's and don'ts of the police so available to the public so that they can read and learn how a police officer is supposed to respond to you, how a police what's supposed to produce when they approach you? So is there anything like that available to the public?
We don't have anything like that, but we can provide something to members of the public and get it out there through corporate communication, which Archie, as you said.
Yes.
We can do that because if persons need to know, we will speak it on these forums. But remember, everybody may not be locked on.
Right.
The information may not go out. But we will try to get it out through the corporate communication, through LinkedIn, through all the different medium that we are involved in. And I'll speak to Ms. Archie on that. I know she's listening,
Yeah.
so
Yes,
she
is.
she know that she has some homework to do.
Yeah. And I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah, and just to add, the laws of Trinidad and Tobago are clear. It's a public document. Persons should acquaint themselves with what is contained therein as it relates to the role, the rights, the responsibilities of both the police and the citizens. While I understand what you're saying in a more informal kind of way, we bring it forward. Certainly we will do that.
Yes.
Right.
But it's there in the laws of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Garth, before we take calls, I just quickly wanted to touch on, as Senior Sup mentioned, about the social issues that the police are on the front line of intervening in terms of the incidents of domestic violence where women and children are killed. What is the TTPS's approach to preventing the offenses and the part that protection orders play in that, prosecuting the offenders and protecting the survivors?
Okay. For the year thus far, we have had 29 domestic murders, right? Domestic related murders. 16 of those have been solved, all right? In most instances, the perpetrator is known.
Yes.
And so we have embarked on some strategies now. Now, the initial thing is that we have the gender-based unit that was formed, and they are taking the lead in the investigation as it relates to domestic issues.
Yes.
Right.
We have the protection orders that have been issued by the court. In some instances, the victims themselves breach these orders because they will go back to the person and they will start back some form of relationship. And then when it goes sour again, the end result is the murder or serious woundings.
Yeah.
Right? So what we are doing now, what we have embarked on in recent times, we have the patrols paying attention to the homes where we have the protection orders that were issued.
Yes.
So for instance, the patrols are instructed to go to the homes and liaise with the victim as well as the perpetrator. If they are still living in the same home, because in some instances they live in the same home, but with restrictions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So sometimes one living upstairs, one living downstairs in the same home, but they cannot engage in the particular actions as directed by the court. But then we have the officers going to the homes now and engaging the person and saying, okay, is everything all right? How has things been going recently as it relates to the protection order? And so we try to engage persons to get that feeling.
Yeah.
Sometimes we cannot be in everybody's mind to know what they are thinking about. So sometimes if the person decides to move on with their life, meet somebody else, and the other person decides, well, I can't take that, I can't take that embarrassment, We could not know what is going on in that man's mind or woman's mind. So we could only, try our best through this type of engagement. Again, I want to talk about the Princetown Station Council. They have embarked on a domestic violence campaign. They have been doing some work as it relates to that in the Princetown district, right? So they are engaging persons, and they are in fact trying to do something and highlight the issues of domestic violence and bring persons up to date with the recent information.
Yeah, just to add to Mr. Smith there, on the social intervention side, we also have the Victim Witness and Support Unit that plays a critical role in providing that psychosocial support for victims with relentless follow-ups and whatnot. Is a facility, it's something that is available to persons, and not only for domestic violence, issues generally.
Yes.
And we tend to point persons in the direction of this particular group, as it's a support group to help overcome some of the challenges that citizens face.
Right. And you can also, and thanks for that, you can also visit the TTPS website where they can access the customer service site, which guides the public as to what to expect from a police officer when interacting. And again,
that site is ttps.gov.tt.
Yeah.
Customer service.
Customer service section. And, it's so sad, though, that despite what you cannot be with your officers when they go out to work. So you would expect that what you teach them, they carry with them. That's the only thing you could do.
It's a trust issue.
It's a trust issue.
Yes.
And Mr. Maharaj, you have any ambition to be a provost anytime?
A provost?
Provost at the training academy.
I never really considered that. But I know I'm a career police officer, and the job gives me the opportunity to be provost, to be commissioner, to be constable, to be lawyer, to be counselor. It gives me all the opportunities, and it's one that I embrace and fulfill.
From how you interacted with us here this morning, everybody have their role and function, and I could see you being a very good provost. I'm telling you that, you have that attitude, and you don't put water in your mind, you don't cover up nothing. You and the ACP here, you came here this morning, like I said, and you laid it out on the table. The police service, as you indirectly said, is not a perfect organization, but you will try your best.
Yes.
Certainly.
To keep us safe.
Certainly.
And live up to your oath and mandate.
That is what it is. Living up to your oath of office and your code of conduct. It is not just another job. It is a way of life, being a police officer. And once you fulfill the requirements of the code of conduct and the oath of office, it will guide all the decisions that you're required to make, including the ones where you're tempted to take a bribe. Just reflect on your oath of office, and it will guide your decision.
Yes.
That is what it is.
Well said. Well said. So I'm going to video E quickly, because the reason I'll be showing this happened, and officers, I know it would pain your heart to see, because when we saw it, it was pain too. This happened right a stone's throw away from our home, from where we live. This happened on Jasper Avenue. But I want people, again, to be very vigilant in these times here, because it is not easy to experience this. Go ahead, Shortman, quickly. This is a home invasion.
It's a short video, but
yes,
it's gonna play.
Look at this. Now imagine you chilling in your own home as a senior citizen especially, and these people come into your home. It's sad, eh? How
Thankfully, she was unharmed,
Yes.
and the bandits left, but with some valuables. But this is really traumatic.
Any advice for citizens, gentlemen?
Yes. So now this is something quite disturbing, because it shows that Mr. Maharaj was speaking about it all morning. The values in society have gone down the drain now. So I'm wondering, this sudden turn came about just after the COVID, like if we were locked up and we just came out with all the anger and rage and everything, right? And society has gone crazy right now. We're seeing that these are old persons, elderly persons, I would say.
Yeah.
And these guys have no respect for them, no regards whatsoever.
Mhm.
Now, they may be at home and they may have their gates open. They may have the door open, just take it relaxing. and not expecting these persons to come, and they will be looking around the area and looking for easy, soft targets.
Soft targets.
So the point about it too, what I could urge the population to do is always be alert. Install some security systems in your place. If you know that you like to have your door open, lock your burglar proof in and have your front door open. At least even if they come, they cannot get in your house.
Right.
The burglar proof that you're putting in your homes, you must ensure that the bars are not too far apart that they could come in easily, and that it's from material, not weak things like tin BRC and all this stuff. If you have louvers in your home, if you can afford it, you have to start a change or put some additional form of security to keep the burglars out. But whatever you're doing, you must be in a position and you must be alert at all times. These fellas looking around, they're driving around, looking for any target. And it may not be that they intend to come at your home,
No.
It's just that they seize the
An
opportunity
opportunity, yeah.
and just run into your home because they see something that they could take from by you. They realize that auntie at home alone, I could take something from her at this stage. They have no regards. And you know why they're doing this? Because there's no consequences now, There are no consequences for crime. Because here it is, we arrested about 6,000 persons for the year so far, as I said before, and they're still doing it. If we didn't arrest them, what would have been happening? And they get bail, they come back out, and they do it again. Thus the name was made for them, recidivists. They get a nice name, right? Repeat offenders, they get a nice name. Because they are allowed to come back out and do it again. I'm not throwing blame to anybody, but it's a societal problem, and we must solve it collectively. Society have their role to play, the police have their role to play, the judiciary have their role to play, and when they reach at the end of the line, which is the prison, they have their role to play. But then sometimes when they go into prison now, they're reaching the university of crime.
Correct.
Right? Yep. And that's when they're learning all the things, and they're making links so that when this one come out before them, they go at some targets that they send them to.
Correct.
Right? And they're doing all the niceties from the prison. So everybody must come together because the burden cannot be on the police alone. Everybody looking towards the police. The police is the police, and the police is next. What about the other agencies? Mr. Maharaj spoke about the borders too. What about the land borders? Where we finding guns and barrels in certain companies, shipping companies. What about that?
Gentlemen, Joanne, I hope you're listening. We cannot end here, but we have to stop now because the 12 o'clock news is upon us. So we ACP, find your closing comments, and this is, and I want to go out on a limb to say this is part one with the police service.
Yes.
Part one. ACP? I'm sorry, Senior Sub Maharaj.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, in closing, I want to say thanks for the opportunity to bring perspective to what the police does, how we operate. You see, we don't really have time to use our local term to gallery ourselves as to what we do. We have a job to do, we do it. Okay, from time to time we make mistakes. Certainly, we own up to our mistakes, fix it, and move forward, all in a bit to serve our citizens. I want the citizens to be aware and feel confident that there are police officers who hold true to their oath of office, their code of conduct, operate above board. And while we have the little fractures among us, we're dealing with it internally. But we are here to protect and serve the citizenry. That is our remit. That's what we sign up for.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir?
Right. I just want to thank you all for the opportunity for allowing us to come here today. I want to say, some people tend to criticize the Commissioner of Police. That is a job that I do envy. I commend her from the bottom of my heart because it's a difficult job. Right? The job of a commissioner is serious. The executive, it's a new executive now. Give us a chance. We really want it, which we are trying our best. Crime is a dynamic thing, and we need to be changing with the times. We are in fact doing that. Our Deputy Commissioner Intelligence, Operations, and as well as Administration, they are working assiduously together with the team. Our Senior Superintendent is the pillar of all this, because without the Senior Superintendent in a division, everything, the plans that we put in place that the Commissioner has, right? Mr. Maharaj and all of them are the tactical units and all these things. Without them to run these operations and plans, it could never work. The two major, points for success in any operation, or anything for any plan to work, is effective leadership and positive attitude by the staff. If we do have that, if we cannot motivate the staff and engage them to do the work, then no plan could ever work in any organization.
Thank you so much. Mr. Daly Knock is standing there supervising this session here and he's about to read the news.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you so
Thank
much,
you
sir.
so much,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
See, so
Thanks for having
thank you
us.
so much. You all were wonderful. I'm sure the commissioner is pleased with your intervention here this morning. And can we make a commitment to our listening audience so that they can speak with you next time? We have a town hall with you here for our part 2.
Of course.
Well, certainly I avail myself, organization and country first.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so
Major,
much.
so, folks, thank you very much for being with us. It has been a very great discussion. Sorry we couldn't speak with you all today, but we will have a part 2 with these gentlemen and other members of the police service here in due course. Thank you. Major news up next with Mr. Daly now.
Good afternoon.
We run out of time.